The following was published in the Oxford Times newspaper on the 9th of May 1857. Considerable excitement has prevailed for several days at Beckley in this county and the adjoining villages, occasioned by a report which has been pretty extensively circulated that a ghost had taken up its quarters at a farmhouse known as Beckley Lower Farm in the occupation of Mr. Chapman. Such was the rapidity with which the rumour flew, and such was the eagerness manifested to obtain a sight of the haunted house, a lone farmhouse lying in a hollow about a mile to the east of Beckley, that on Friday and Saturday several hundreds, and on Sunday it is computed no less than 1,000, persons of all classes of society made a journey to the farm in order to gratify their curiosity. Of course, the reports in circulation have been many and varied, each visitor giving a version different somewhat from the others, but the following facts may be relied on. About the middle of last week, Mr. Chapman had occasion to go from home, leaving at the house his wife, a female visitor, a servant girl, and 4 young children. Soon after he had gone, scenes of an extraordinary character commenced. Pieces of the ceilings in every room of the house fell down, making a noise like thunder. Brick after brick came rattling down the chimney. Tiles fell from the roof, and all of this without an apparent human agency. About half the windows in the house are broken. Stones, pieces of tile, and plaster were thrown through them with such force as to break the leaden frames. And all of this went on in the open day, one peculiar characteristic of his ghost ship, distinguishing him from the generality of his fraternity, being his invaluable quietness during the witching hours of the night, when, according to popular belief, ghosts delight in indulging their wanton sports. During the whole of the terrible scenes, the females displayed a courage and presence of mind truly praiseworthy. At each succeeding smash of the windows, a most rigid search was instituted by them throughout the grounds adjoining the house, to discover the perpetrator of the mischief, but always without success. One extraordinary circumstance was, we are told, that whenever the bricks or plaster fell on the property of the occupier, the articles of furniture sustained no damage, nor did any of the inmates of the house receive any injury with the exception of the servant, who had a trifling bruise on the forehead, occasioned by the falling of a piece of the ceiling. Matters continued in this state until Monday last, during the whole of which not even a glimpse of the ghost could be obtained. On the morning of that day, however, the servant, who had been engaged in her domestic duties in the upper part of the house, came rushing downstairs, pale with terror, and fell fainting with fright. As soon as she had sufficiently recovered to give an explanation, she said that she had encountered a tall, dark man on the landing of the stairs, and although closely questioned and told that she must have been deceived, she adhered to her statement. All the rooms in the house were immediately examined by the men employed on the farm, but the supernatural intruder was nowhere to be found. The effect of the sight of the tall dark man on the servant girl was so much that she could not be induced to remain any longer inside the house, and she accordingly left the same day. Whether his ghost ship found that his lodgings were getting too warm to be comfortable, we cannot say, but it is certain that he has not been since heard of. The Lower Farm, which is a very old one, has for nearly a century been associated with many tales of supernatural character, one of which, credulously believed by many of the labouring classes, is to the effect that a former tenant of the farm made an agreement with his satanic majesty, by which he sold himself for a certain sum of money. A little wood to the east of the farm is pointed out to the inquiring visitor as the place in which the agreement was drawn up, and to which the tenant was wont to repair to receive payment of his wages. It is added, however, that the laying of the evil spirit was effectually performed, and that the old man, by always carrying a Bible in his pocket, eluded fulfilling his share of the devilish bargain.